Hey guys, hey, I went flying with the Bird of Time the other day and came back with a wing that is a little bit less organized than it was when I left. So I wanted to pass something on because this is not the first time that I've ended up in this situation for this reason, and so I feel like it's my obligation to pass on my stupidity to help others avoid the same situation. And this was just coming in, overshooting the runway. I don't have a runway at my place, but overshooting where I was trying to land. And instead of trying to land it way down where I can't see it very well, I thought, oh, I'm going to do one more slow turn, unpowered turn. And that inside wing just stalled out and down it went. And when you're only up 20 or 30 feet, there's just not enough time to recover. It drops down and spirals down and down it goes. And so to really give a heads up, I guess, to everybody out there that on a real slow turn, it just likes to stall out on that inner wing. So be really careful with that. I would suggest on that to go ahead and power it back up if you've got, if you've modded it to where it has engine power, motor power, or if you have the EP version that does. And just bring it around again, pretty much similar to a general aviation real airplane. Is just those real slow last turns are really deadly. And so so heads up on that. You'll also notice on this particular one that it did break in the middle of the wing, is where it really busted up. And that's something that through the time people have noticed that there is a weak point there in the wing, in that center point. And what I normally do, and I just didn't on this wing, just didn't realize it, is I hadn't put the packing tape on. What I suggest, you don't need to do it on the winglets, but just from this outside edge on the front surface, and you don't need to, it doesn't need to be the reinforced packing tape. At least I just used the normal packing tape and ran it all the way down, all the way up to the other end of the middle wing. And then I ended up doing a couple more pieces, and I just kind of feathered it, kind of tapered it. So the next one I started in here and ran it, and the last one I just covered this middle section across. And I did the exact same pattern on this trailing edge. Anyway, you'll see another video, and I'll put the link, I guess, up in one of these top corners right now, to where there was one time where I had a cracked wing, and for the sake of science, I decided that I would just go ahead and tape it up like I had just mentioned, and really run it through its courses to try to see whether it'd hold up without even fixing the wing. And it did marvelous. I heard a little bit of creaking here and there, but it held up, and I did some really strong power loops. And so you'll be able to see that video if you'd like to, and see that packing tape it appears that it really helps. And so I just do that right at the beginning in case you get in trouble and pull out of a loop real tight or something like that, that you don't rip those wings off and split it there in the middle. So there's another heads up. Let's see, takeoff. Takeoff works great if you have the EP version, or if you've used one of the mods that I've done or done it yourself. The mods at rcairmods.com, you'll be able to see that there's a lot of thrust behind that setup that I proposed there. And so when you go to take that off at probably about 75% power. It'll take off real nice, and then it'll just want to continue to climb without any forward stick input. And so that's just another heads up, is there's plenty of time to react to it, but as that starts to climb more and more steep, just put a little bit more forward stick on that. We can design in some down thrust to try to counter that a little bit, but I feel like that the plane in general flies best with just a flat, straight up front, and it looks better. So I just like to tend to manually put a little bit of forward stick as need to. You could even do it with the throttle to where it's in a mix to where it just puts a little bit of forward stick. Anyway, so there's a little bit of heads up on takeoff. I don't have any side thrust on it either, compensation. There's just so much wing and weight in that Bird of Time that it doesn't seem to have an issue with that. And so once again, I would suggest even those that just want to do it on their own without my mods, to just make it look nice and just keep that at a 90 degree with the thrust line, and you'll be fine that way. Got takeoff. Coming in to try to avoid those turns, here's a little shameless plug for myself, but those spoilers that I designed, and you don't have to get them from me, just anywhere that you can get some spoilers. It does add a little bit of complication to the Bird of Time, and one of the cool things about it is how simple it really is. So there's a little bit of a wash there, but it is just so much easier to bring in that airplane with spoilers on it, especially when you got them dialed in to where you turn on that spoiler and you've got it dialed in with the elevator so it doesn't want to nose down or nose up when you implement those. And I just turn them on 2 or 3, 4 times during approach to where I can just completely dial in that because with the ones that I have, your sync rate increases by 3 or 4 times when those spoilers come on, and so you can really dial in it to where you can put it down at your feet when you're doing it right. I wasn't playing around with that the other day. I can't even remember what the deal was with that one. I just turned them on way too late or something, but normally I can get those right in to where it works so much better without them. So just a heads up on that is spoilers are a great option for that as well. Okay, well that was the main thing I wanted to pass on as far as just that slow turn on that final pass. If you overshoot it, is just be really careful. I hate to have somebody else do that. I'd like to just be an example toward everybody else, and so that they can avoid coming back with pieces on their airplane, on their sailplane. Okay, well I think that's generally what I had. Like I said, I just thought that would be helpful to pass on, and hope everybody's enjoying their airplanes. We'll catch you later. Goodbye.